All right, you should have just watched Unit 5, Lesson 1 on multiplying and dividing by powers of 10, but this time with decimal values. And in class, we're doing these as just on whiteboards. I did attach the sheet, so if you wanted to, you could print this sheet out and have it in front of you, or you're free to just do these on your whiteboards. Okay, I'm not going to collect this sheet from you. This is just to kind of make sure you've got down what we did in class today. So you can either have your whiteboard handy or you could have your sheet in front of you. We're just going to check through all of these answers, and I'm just going to work through the problems. If you are doing this on whiteboards, then you can go ahead and, and pause me between each problem. You can write down the problem, pause me, press play when you're ready. I'm just going to work through all of these, and it's your job to pause in between, okay? So first off, these are all kind of mixed up, so you have to pay attention to whether you are multiplying or dividing. Remember, when you divide, that means we shift to the left, and when you multiply, that means we shift the decimal point to the right. The digits are shifting the opposite way. So in 8.5 divided by 10, I'm dividing by 1/10. That means one shift to the left. So you should have 0.85 or 85 hundredths, as I like to say. For this next one, we are taking 248 and 92 hundredths times 1,000. That's the same thing as multiplying by 3 tens. So that means in 248.92, I need to move 3 places right. So I should go 1, 2, 3. And because I have an empty hop here, I need to put the infamous 0 there. So for this one, you should have 248,920. Next, I am dividing by 1,000. That's the same thing as dividing by 10 3 times. So I need to shift this digit 3 places left because it's division. So when I go to shift 1, 2, 3, there's my decimal point, but notice there are 2 empty spaces here. I need to put my zeros in there so that my 1 can be in the thousands place. So your final answer should look like this, where you have your 1 in the thousands place. 0 in the tenths, 0 in the hundredths. All right, next I'm multiplying by 110. And multiplying by 110 means 1 hop right. So we would just have 528. All right, next, and again, this isn't meant for you just to copy down a bunch of answers. You should be pausing, or you've already worked these out and you're checking your work with me, okay? Otherwise, you take the benefit of the assignment out of it. Okay, here I'm dividing by 10. When you divide by 10, I want all my digits to shift this way. That means I need to shift my decimal point 1 place left. So this decimal point's right here. It would move between the 8 and the 2. So you should have 58 and 261 thousandths. For your next one, we are multiplying by 100. That's the same thing as multiplying by 10 twice. So you had 81.5, right? 2 shifts would mean 1, 2. I have an empty hop here. I need to put a 0 there. The decimal's now at the end. I don't have to put it when it's on the end like that. I can just say 8,150. This one I'm dividing by 1,000. So when you divide by 1,000, that's like dividing by 10 3 times. That means 3 shifts to the left with my decimal point. So when you go to move this 3 places left, 1, 2, 3, it would now be there. I'd have 2 empty hops. That means I need 2 zeros there. So you might write it like this, but I told you before, if you have numbers in the tens place and nothing in the ones, you'll put nothing in the ones. All right, and now I have 3 and 66 hundredths times 1,000. That is like multiplying by 10 3 times. That means I need to move this decimal point 3 places. 1, 2, 3. And there's nothing there, so put nothing there. 0 represents nothing. So I can copy down these digits that I have. I know my decimal's at the end, and I don't need to write the decimal point because it would just look funny. All right, now we're going to try the same thing, but instead of using 10, 100, 1,000, I'm going to use exponents because I do need you to be familiar with both. So here's your first one, 498 and 32 hundredths times 10 to the third. Sorry. So 10 to the third means I am multiplying by 3 tens. That means 3 shifts to the right, because that's multiplication, right? When you shift your decimal point to the right, you're shifting your digits to the left, making those place values 1 place greater every time you do it. So here's 1. Here's 2. I need to move a third time, and I notice there's nothing there, so I would put a 0. So for this, Maybe start off by writing all the digits and then put your comma in after. I think that's a little bit easier. 498,320. In this next one, we are dividing by 10 squared. That means we're dividing by 2 tens. That means I need to move this 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So now that decimal point is between the 4 and the 1. It's no longer here. So don't put 2 in there. It wouldn't make any sense. Next, 4.7. This is another division. Divided by 10 to the third. That means 3 shifts left with my decimal point. So right now, it's right here. If I want to shift it 3 places left, I would go 1, 2, 3. So now it's right there. I have 2 empty spaces here. I want this 4 to be in the hundreds place, or sorry, in the thousands place. So in order for that to happen, I have to have numbers in the tenths and the hundredths. Otherwise, that won't be in the thousands. So you have to put those zeros in. It might look like this, but remember, if it looks like this, you're usually going to see a 0 in the ones place. Okay, here I am multiplying by 110. When you multiply, that means the decimal point shifts 1 place to the right so that the digits can shift 1 place to the left. So 67 and 2/10 is what you should have. For our next one, I have 79 and 5/10 times 10 to the 4th. So I'm multiplying by 4 tens. That means I need to move this decimal place, or decimal point, 4 places to the right. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to need to insert 3 zeros in this one because I had 3 empty hops. So when I write down the digits, it looks like that. When I put in my comma, it looks like that. And that is a 5, not an S, in case you were wondering. Okay, here I'm dividing by 10 to the 4th. When you divide, that means I'm moving my decimal point to the left. And when I don't have enough room, I always like to just rewrite it. And instead of trying to do this in my head, I use the hops. I think it really helps. So many of us are visual learners. So if you're finding yourself consistently not putting that decimal point in the right place and you're not rewriting it and doing the hops, please do that. It will really help. So I'm going to move 4 places left. 1, 2, 3, 4. It should be right there. Notice there are 3 empty hops. So I'll write my decimal point, and then I see 3 zeros, and then 614. And we should put a 0 in that place because that's how you'll see it. So that should be your final answer. Here we are dividing by 10 squared. That's the same as dividing by 10 twice, which means 2 places to the left. So you might want to write it like that. This is how you're going to see it. And last but not least, we are multiplying by 10 to the third. That's the same thing as multiplying by 3 tens. So I need to move 3 places to the right with my decimal. 1, 2, 3. I have an empty hop. I'll put a 0 in. So I'm going to write down all of my digits. 3, 5, 9, 5, 0. It's now at the end. I don't need to write it at the end. This is the whole number. It looks silly. But I do need to put my comma in. So our answer should be 35,950. I hope this is all making sense, and if not, we'll talk about it more in class. Don't worry, and I'll see you soon. Bye.